What if escaping the rat race meant simultaneously mastering AI tools, homesteading skills, and community rebellion? Meet Joshua Hale, once a branded cog in corporate culture and now a radical architect of freedom. After being non-personaed from his family at 16 for leaving his rebellious community, Joshua fought through addiction, poverty, and corporate burnout before choosing a profoundly different path, building a life out of alignment on his own terms, deeply rooted in community and self-reliance. Today, he's a holistic tech wizard, weaving AI-powered business strategy with ancient wisdom, homestead design, and mutual aid networks that bypass broken systems. His flagship program, Beyond the Matrix OS, is a 12-week live escape strategy that guides people from digital overwhelm to operational sovereignty. Joshua doesn't just coach. Instead, he escalates with tools that cut busy work, frameworks for financial independence, and radical community structures. He helps entrepreneurs and creatives reclaim their time, clarity, and agency. This is more than a conversation, and instead, it's an initiation into what it means to design a life unbroken by systems, digital or institutional. Brace yourself for stories of exile, reprogramming, and the tools that rewrote the rules. And before we start the episode, a quick word from our sponsor, Deep Wealth and the Deep Wealth Mastery Program. Here's Bill, a graduate, who says, the Deep Wealth Mastery Program has transformed the KPIs we're using to accelerate growth and profits. Or how about Emery, who says, and I love this, and I quote, the Deep Wealth Mastery Program helped me create the right mindset for both growing my business and later my future exit. I now know what questions to ask, what to do and not to do, which is priceless. The team and I have found dangerous skeletons and gaps that we're now addressing due to the Deep Wealth Program. Today, our actions have a massive ROI. Absolutely love that. And now, speaking of growth and adding value, check out what Bruce says. And I quote, as a business owner, I'm always looking for new programs, systems, CEO peer groups, and strategies to improve my business. Hands down, the Deep Wealth Mastery Program is the absolute best. I'm both growing my business and preparing for a future exit at the same time. It doesn't get any better. And I got to tell you, as I hear these testimonials, this is exactly why I do what I do. My mission, the team's mission here at Deep Wealth, is to literally change the social fabric of society, one business owner at a time and one liquidity event at a time. The Deep Wealth Mastery Program is the only one based on a 9-figure deal. And that was my deal. You know my story. I said no to a 7-figure offer. I created a system that we now call Deep Wealth Mastery, and that's exactly what helped myself and my business partners welcome from a different buyer, a different offer, a 9-figure deal. So if you're interested in growing your profits, preparing for a future liquidity event, whether that's 3 years away or 33 years away, and if you want to optimize your post-exit life, Deep Wealth Mastery is for you. Please email success@deepwealth.com. Again, that's success, SUCCESS, at deepwealth.com. We'll send you all the information about the Deep Wealth Mastery Program, otherwise known as the Scale for Ultimate Sales System. Better yet, why not hop on a complimentary strategy call? We'll see where you are at your business and what's standing between you and your financial independence and your dreams. So that's where you want to be. You want to be with other successful business owners, entrepreneurs, and founders just like you who are looking to create market disruptions. Whether you're a startup, whether you've been in business for 3 or 4 decades, whether you're manufacturing, whether you're high-tech, SaaS, low-tech, whatever the case may be, come on in and network with other business owners, with other businesses just like you, because they all want to lock in their financial freedom and enjoy both success and fulfillment. Again, the 90-day Deep Wealth Mastery Program, it has your name on it. All you need to do is take the next step. Please send an email to success@deepwealth.com. Deep Wealth Nation, welcome to another episode of the Deep Wealth Podcast. Well, Deep Wealth Nation, let me ask you this. Are you going to check the box when I ask the following questions? I know you started your business for a lifestyle, but do you now have the golden handcuffs? You're working morning to night. You're burning it at both ends. You are tired. You don't have the energy. Your family is like, who are you and where have you been? And on top of that, you now got this thing called artificial intelligence and AI, and it's supposed to be making your life easier. But my goodness, it's adding to your headaches and your worry. Maybe things are taking longer. Maybe you don't know what to do or where to start. And the list goes on and on and on. My goodness, just saying that, I feel so tired and exhausted. Well, if you said yes and you checked those boxes, one or both of them, you are at the right place. We have a very special guest in the House of Deep Wealth. You heard the official introduction. We have Joshua in the House of Deep Wealth. Joshua, welcome to the Deep Wealth Podcast. An absolute pleasure to have you with us. There's always a story behind the story. My goodness, you have quite the story. So what's your story behind the story? What got you from where you were to where you are today?
Yeah, well, I really was feeling stuck about 15 years ago, working in the restaurant industry, didn't know how to get out of it. I desperately wanted to get away from working 50 hours a week and really just getting a small paycheck for doing that. And it really wasn't until I came up with getting sober, choosing to walk away from the horrendous drug habits I had accumulated as a DJ in my 20s, and stopping hard drugs, liquor, weed, and then cigarettes. Took me about 2 years to come out of that drug fog. And I realized I was in such deficit in all areas of my life, my emotional intelligence, my critical thinking capabilities, any sort of business or entrepreneurial capacity. And I made a decision because I was ready to create a family to hit the ground running. So since then, that got me into creating my first business. What really helped me on my journey was affirmations, being able to affirm to myself daily of who I wanted to be, where I wanted to go. And because of my DJ background, I created a recording of myself reading my affirmations, put some cool ambient music behind it. And the first half of the track, I dropped it below earshot. So it became a subliminal message of myself to myself. And then the second half, it was auditory. So I showed that to one of my friends and she's like, "Can you make me one?" I was like, "Yeah, this is like really helping me out." And she then told me, she's like, "Josh, you can make a business doing this." And so she then led me into my first entrepreneurial adventures. And I got a website done, got it all built, and then went to go promote it on social media. Did everything wrong. This is like 2011. Talking in all caps, yelling at people, telling them how great my product was. Nobody was talking back to me. And I did a year of doing what you shouldn't do on social media. And from there, I learned a lot and realized I could teach other people, right? This is 2011, 2012. Businesses are just becoming aware that they have to use this social media thing. So then I started managing and coaching people's social media accounts. That then led me into a decade-long journey of developing digital marketing skills, and from Facebook ads to creating email opt-ins to then building websites and then creating whole campaigns for that funnel. That led me into running a marketing agency when ChatGPT came out. And that's when I saw how disruptive AI was going to be.
Oh my goodness, Joshua, there is so much there. And firstly, I want to salute you. I want to thank you for being so open and vulnerable with us, of talking about your very storied past, of how you went down certain addictions and other kinds of things. And let me ask you, because whether it's alcohol or other substances, or even sometimes starting a company, which becomes an addiction, we all find ourselves entrepreneurs. We're hard-charging type A personalities, oftentimes just so focused, maybe even bouncing around all over the place, that we can all be there. It just takes different forms. So someone who's been there and you climbed out of that hole that you had created for yourself, you mentioned it was affirmations and other kinds of things. So for someone in Deep Wealth Nation who's saying, "Joshua, I hear you, and that's exactly where I am right now," or, "Hey, you know what, Joshua, yes, I'm not exactly there because of this, but I'm there because of that," whatever that is, best practice wise, when you look back on your journey, was it the affirmations, the mantras that you're saying to yourself, was that really what really helps you say, "Okay, today's a new day, I am stopping, I'm going to go in this different direction," or was there something else going on? What's a little bit of your secret sauce with that? Why don't we start there?
Meditation was crucial in being able to understand that my thinking mind was not who I was. I had a bunch of faulty and like negative self-talk that was constantly chopping me down, telling me I wasn't good enough, that I was never going to amount to anything. And it wasn't until through meditation, I was realizing that I was the watcher of that voice. And once I separated myself from that negative self-talk, I could ignore it. I could choose to make positive affirmation tracks to counter it. So that really gave me the like foundation that I was able to then build my self-development habits and processes off of, so that I had a firm footing to be able to move forward with.
Terrific. Okay. And so why don't we talk about that? We're going to zoom out and big picture wise, from affirmations to having that mindset to having that clarity. You're now also integrating technology, otherwise known as artificial intelligence. And offline, we were talking about how so many entrepreneurs, all of us, we start the business, not for starting a business, but ultimately to create a lifestyle, and it backfires on us. We just get caught in the business. It doesn't run without us. We're spending too much time in it. The world revolves around us instead of having the right team members and the right systems and processes. So big picture wise, when you're coming onto the scene, what does that look like? And coming out of it, after I've been working with you for a while, what would I expect?
Yeah, well, just because you're good at something doesn't mean that you would be a good business owner and like a founder. And not understanding your exit plan and how you want your business to support your lifestyle will lead you into your business filling every nook and cranny of your day, of your week, and your life. So understanding the limitations you want to put on the business going into it is a really important aspect that you don't want to just blindly walk yourself into, because I know this because I did that for a decade. And I just lived that life of feeling this fear that I had to be successful, trying to support my family. I have a 7-year-old daughter. So just that pressure of needing to provide for them led me to getting up early, working all the way till bedtime, and really missing out on key family experiences. But like I said, it fills every nook and cranny of your life. There is like an addiction obsession once you start figuring out the mechanisms of entrepreneurship and start getting, your first clients, customers, and building systems.
And what's interesting with all of that, if we go back to your journey, particularly the early days, in your own words, and we heard it in the official introduction, you were cast out of your community for any number of reasons. You had to really go on your own, try and figure things out, which you've done now. And now you're coming forward to today. And what's interesting about this, Joshua, when it comes to business, we don't hear one of the terms that you use, holistic living. And we need to hear more of that. Maybe we'll hear that on the health side, probably not. In certain instances, we do. So business, holistic living, artificial intelligence, they're strange bedfellows, but you've made them work. So what's going on with the system that you've now created, and you're helping countless entrepreneurs begin to integrate into their lives, help them create their own OS so that they can have that holistic living, that successful business, having those success and fulfillment magic moments that's going on. So what's that all about?
Well, a good founder and a healthy business has leadership that has a well-balanced lifestyle. And so I've really worked on that for my own personal development, understanding health, understanding diet, understanding sleep, understanding all the aspects of our lives that need to be working in balance in order for me to be the best person. And I add on a really important aspect of that is digital well-being. What that meant 5 years ago was like, don't spend too much time on the screen. But that is completely changing with 8 hours of online use for the average person nowadays. But also now with AI and interacting with AI, how we need to have boundaries, healthy boundaries, so we're not becoming emotionally dependent, privacy, that we have an understanding of how our data is being used out there and we're leaving a trail of data around us. So that's a critical component of our day-to-day life now because of how immersive digital experience is with us.
And why don't you talk to us about that? Because to me, it's like the frog in boiling water. These technologies, when they first came out, it's going to change life. It's going to free us up. It's going to give you more time. We're going to connect with people in ways that we've never connected before. And the panacea that was painted for us sounded incredible. Yet fast forward now, a few decades later, it's actually the opposite of what's going on. And I feel like we're the frog in boiling water. We don't notice it, but slowly, day over day, we're getting caught in the technology trap, and we're having many of the negative effects caught up with us. So in your systems, what would be some strategies that we're doing? Or maybe another way I could phrase that for you, one of my favorite questions in this kind of scenario, whether it's the 80-20 principle or Pareto's law that says something along the lines that, hey, 20% of these actions or inactions here are creating 80% of the results over here. And no labels, no judgments. Maybe those results are what we want. Maybe they're not. So are there patterns that you're seeing that are going on, more common patterns, and what would they be?
Yeah, absolutely. And it really boils down to your habits of how you interact with your online work and use, but creating that lifestyle that is helping you ground, helping you be in healthy environments and not just glued to the screen all day, either through your work and then catching up on social and then watching YouTube videos when you could be, hanging out with your family. These things are all need to be intentionally designed into our lives, because otherwise social media is designed to hook your attention and pull you into their networks. And these are extremely good at what they're doing. So having firm boundaries, like I come out to my office, which is separate from my house now. I did have an office in my house, and that was a disaster because I was always feeling like, oh, I could just fire off that one more email and just be done. And so there was no separation between work and home life. To having firm boundaries around your social media use. If you're a content creator, if you have a business, you have to do content. I like to do it like as a surgeon strike, make some content, jump on there, post, and get out. Don't use the feed, because that's where the trough is for the rest of the people. But being able to put something on there, create something, put something out there into the world, and not be the consumer of those social media networks. And then having good practices. So with that separation, when I get done with work, my mind is like going a million miles a minute, right? I have all these checklists that I've just been knocking out all day. I was previously going into the house to go hang out with my 7-year-old, and she would immediately jump on me and say, Daddy, let's play horse. And my brain literally could not get down to her level. And so what I've learned is, instead of going directly into the house, I now go off into the woods, sit down, do like a 10-minute meditation, ground myself, put my feet on the ground. I can literally feel the static that I had collected from these 3 monitors I'm sitting in front of all day. And then I go into the house, and my brainwave state is so much more chill, so much more accessible to get into that play state to be with my daughter, that it removed a lot of friction of being able to like go from one mode into another. So intentional design into your day, right? How are you interacting with technology, and how are you moving into the different phases of that?
So important. And I like to call them rituals, because when you think about it, the rituals that we do on days which turn into weeks, which turn into months, quarters, and years, that really becomes the fabric of our life. And one of the things that I really like with what you're doing is you're taking this now and you're bringing it down to simple, not to confuse simple with simplicity. And one of the things that you've systematized, subtraction and clarity. Because most of us as entrepreneurs, we have been programmed to believe I got to be hustling from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed and everything else going on. So subtraction and clarity sounds simple on paper. What's going on behind the scenes with that? And what would you want us to know about that?
Those aha moments and those great ideas require space to come up to our conscious attention. And first thing in the morning, like one of the best habits that I have is like I wake up, I start my coffee, I do some yoga, stretching, little workout, and then be able to get my coffee as a reward. In there, I can journal, I can read some inspiring books, but creating that space when I first wake up to just really get into my body and get the morning started. Then I come out to my office. I don't check my email, but I jump into some deep dive work. Eat your frogs first kind of stuff. What can I focus on? What's one big move I can make before anybody else wakes up? Because I have a 7-year-old daughter, so that's some precious time there. And then once I go into the house, I have breakfast with my family. And that's when I start interacting with my notifications, social media, things like that, catching up with where the world left off. And that right there is creating that space for those great ideas to come up to the surface. Meditation is another good one of those. But even washing dishes later in the evening, to not fill that with podcasts, everything that can cram that space, but to just let yourself use your motor skills while your brain's just processing the day, allows for those great ideas to come up. And it happens frequently. And I have to write them down, because I'm 20 seconds later, I'm definitely going to be thinking about something else. But if we don't intentionally do that, social media and content and the information overwhelm will fill every nook and cranny of our lives.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is, okay, Jeffrey, put some rituals and systems into your life. And one of the things that you're saying, and it makes so much sense. Hey, when you're done with your work, whatever time that's going to be, and if you happen to have either a home office, or in your case, you're fortunate enough to be, yes, it's at home, but it's in a separate place from home. It's outside of my house. I have a different building that I'm going into. You're able to go into the woods, which is terrific. And it makes sense as we talk about this. Now that more people are working from home, the traffic and the commute, hey, it's great to have lost that, but it also sounds like we lost the ability to really unwind. Okay, I'm leaving the office. I have a 20-minute drive back home. Maybe it's even a little bit longer. But during that time, I'm going to unwind. I'm going to decompress. So when I show up, I'm back to normal for my family, and I'm there. I've left everything behind. We've lost that now. And so now you're intentionally building that back in so that I can enjoy that. And Joshua, as we're talking about this, what's fresh in my mind, we had a mastermind in the Deep Wealth community. And one of the members, very similar to what we're talking about, hey, Jeffrey, started this company. I have a newborn and I don't know what to do. I feel so conflicted. I feel terrible because when I'm working in the business, I'm thinking of my newborn. And when I'm with the newborn, I'm thinking I should be working in the business. Help. What do I do? There's so much stress. And so we've talked about some of the strategies that go with us. Let's now talk about AI. How does that play a role? And when does it not play a role as we're looking to what I like to call blend, where, okay, sometimes going to be the business, sometimes going to be the family. Maybe we're doing both at once. Perhaps I'm traveling to a conference. The family's with me. After the conference, I'm with them. Who knows what it is? But what are we doing with AI? What kind of systems are you helping us implement with the technology to give us our time back, give us some joy and fulfillment back in life, give us that lifestyle that we want?
Now, I mentioned that I was running a marketing agency when ChatGPT came out. I went out to lunch with a fellow marketer in town, and he showed me ChatGPT for the first time, like under the table, right? Have you seen this? And immediately I was like enamored and saw the possibilities. I came home, signed up for it, started putting it to use and testing it on the dozen clients I had in different industries. And I very quickly saw how disruptive this technology was going to be. We just onboarded a new big client. I had 3 copywriters doing audience research and understanding the foundation of the business. They did a great job. They took 3 weeks. They came back to share what they found with the client, make sure it was on point. And during that meeting, I did my own audience research over on the side and came up with near quality results, showed one of them afterwards, and they're like, wow, this is pretty good. We just spent 3 weeks and we interviewed people to get this information. That's when I immediately saw like how disruptive this is going to be. I ended up jumping ship from the marketing agency in order to help people out, like good people in your audience, to understand what this technology is, the strengths and weaknesses, and how we can buy back time with our lives by putting these systems in place. And you were right at the beginning, it could get you like 60, 70% there in a minute. But then that 30% afterwards could end up taking a full hour trying to get the full results that you were looking for. I think it's down to about 80, 90% now, but there's a really good method that I tell everybody to employ. The 10-80-10, 10% is user input, right? What do you want this AI to do? Like 80% now is AI just doing its thing, spitting out results. But then you always want to be that 10, 20% refinement at the end, making it sure it's in your own language, your own voice, making sure it's saying what you want it to be saying, and managing this system, this powerhouse. And once you understand that framework, that's where it can really start saving you time. I help people get 4 hours back each week by understanding prompts, understanding how to create custom GPTs, AI automation, like anything you're going to be doing over and over again, being able to like identify that, seeing how AI can help automate that process with you in the review of the whole thing. And it's pretty amazing now that the information overwhelm that we've all been dealing with for the last 10 plus years, of hundreds of emails each day, hundreds of notifications coming from all these different platforms. We're really getting to a point now where ChatGPT is going to be able to help manage what has been completely overwhelming. What our brains are not designed to do is handle all these interrupting notifications all day.
And so with that in mind, Josh, I know it's changing so quickly. And the question I'm about to ask with AI, by the time we publish this episode, is probably going to be obsolete, but let's do it anyway. So where we are today, and specifically as we look at entrepreneurship, owning a business, being a founder, Where do you see AI? I'm not even going to say the next 2 or 3 years because who knows? That's anyone's guess. Really, in the next 3 months, 6 months, maybe year out, what should we be expecting? And more importantly, what should we be expecting, looking to ourselves to be able to do in terms of, okay, I have this tool. Here's what I'm going to hold myself to in terms of making the most of it. What would be your best guess in terms of where this is heading and what this is looking like?
Thanks for being kind and giving me the three month option because this stuff moves so quickly. Well, what I've really focused on in the last 2 years is helping people with their marketing, audience research, understanding how to empathize with the challenges and pain points of their customers and their clients in order to provide excellent service, solving those problems for them, and then creating a story to narrate what they have to offer to their audience. That process used to take 10 months or 6 months with the marketing agency, 10 contractors to fulfill that thing. And now I can offer that in a 2 hour interview process of taking your wisdom and your experience about your business, transcribing that, mixing that with ChatGPT. So that's what I've been doing for the last 2 years. And now we're just getting to the point, just this last week when this was recorded, that ChatGPT is now preemptively bringing me reports and information that it thinks that I need. So previously, you always had to use a question for the AI to go and do something and fetch it and bring it back to you. Now, ChatGPT is running through the night and it's taking my memories, my past conversations, my interests, and like what I am wanting every day, and then compiling little reports. So I wake up and I can scan, be like, yeah, I just talked about that, but just gave me the solution to what I was just doing. So this preemptive AI that's now starting to occur, I think is really where the time saving is going to be, where it's going to add convenience into our lives because we're not needing to be the cog in order to get an answer or something that we're anticipating happening. Coupled with automation so that you get those things out, the repetitive tasks off of your desk so you can spend your time with the higher thinking problems of your business. Those two things I think is really what's going to change in the coming months as people start realizing like, oh, this thing isn't just this dumb thing that goes and fetches information. It's starting to personalize and know me, my business, and being able to give me like really good quality suggestions.
Absolutely love what you're talking about and how you're helping entrepreneurs get their time back. So, okay, they don't have to be the ones to figure out exactly how it's done. You figured out the how, and now you're passing it along. So they're the benefactors of that. Now, I know for so many entrepreneurs, when it comes to, you use the word clarity, I'll use the word focus, we're really getting at the same thing. It's just not there. They are the business is them. The business doesn't run without them. I know in doing my research, one of the things that came through time and time again with your clients is saying it was no time flat. Really, it seemed like seconds that I got quote unquote radical clarity in minutes as opposed to months, years, or maybe never. So, Joshua, what are you doing with that an entrepreneur who is walking in, thoughts all over the place, and they're anything but clarity? It's clear as mud, not clear as crystal. And they're walking out in moments of, okay, yeah, I get it. I'm focused. It's clear. What's going on with that?
I'm really fascinated with this topic. I call it self-discovery and using AI. But in order to do that, you really have to be educated on what it is, its capabilities, and what boundaries we need to not fall into some traps. Now, those traps are emotional dependency, being able to outsourcing our critical thinking, and being able to fall in love with these AI models. Now, that might sound crazy right now, but as voice AI comes online, and now they're putting characters, Meta and X just created these animation characters, AI that you can talk to. People are literally falling in love with these models. The danger is that in the 60s, there was a project called the Ezra Project. And with 60s computers, they created a program that would mirror back the user. What that means is they invited people to sit down, use like a 60s computer with like green type on it, right? And all it could do was letters. They would sit down and share about their day, right? I had a hard day at work. My boss, he wasn't very nice to me. And it would mirror back. You had a hard day at work. Your boss was not very nice. They're like, yeah, he wanted a report, but he told me I had till next week, but then he can't. So it then just keeps mirroring back what they input. And what they found was people were getting very intimate with this 1960s computer. They were asking the scientists to leave the room so they could share more and more personal information. What that showed was that the human mind does not have the defense mechanisms to look out for fake empathy. What they thought this computer like knew them, that it was really listening and giving them connection. And this was like 50, 60 years ago that they realized like humans are very susceptible to having attraction to things that are giving them attention. And so now that we have these AI models, we got to really look out for, put boundaries up. One of them I say is don't anthropomorphize them. Don't say, oh, this is my best friend. This is my buddy Frank. Don't make them human. We really want to keep them as a tool, and then we can use them as a tool. Now, once you have these boundaries in place, I have explored sharing, like I overshare. I test these things out for my clients' benefit, but I've told ChatGPT like my whole life. And every day I do a recap audio that I then upload to it. And now that it has previous memories and can access the previous conversations, it's able to find these unconscious patterns that I just don't have the capacity to remember my conversation 3 weeks ago. And so now it's bringing these insights to me that I had no way of tracking. And it's truly mind blowing at the ways that it can help you realize areas that you are weak in, help you reinforce the areas that you were strong in, and be able to really clear the clutter from your mind and get what's really important out of, I call them walk and talks, right? I just hit record, go walk around and capture whatever brain dump I'm doing that day, whatever catches my interest. I then throw that into ChatGPT and it will pull out the nuggets of value, what's relevant, what can help my business, good social media posts to talk about. This was not possible before the last 2 years. And now it's given me the capabilities to be able to really do something with the random thoughts that I'm just spewing out every day.
And what's interesting about that, because with AI, you're going against the grain, you're contrarian, which I think is actually a great thing. Because with AI, we're hearing about automation. I'm hearing from you, hey, forget the automation. Yes, that's there, but let's talk autonomy. Let's talk keeping that, such a word, I don't know, humanness that's involved, the human element. We're going to keep that in there. And the antithesis of the human element, for just a moment, I'm flipping all over the place here, but there is a method to the madness. In your story and in some of your narratives, you talk about the matrix and different kinds of the matrix. We have the corporate matrix, and you had your whole journey going on there, the religious matrix with what you had gone through. So the matrix and the matrix OS program that you've now created. So what's going on there, Joshua, from a very high level? Someone in Deep Health Nation who's saying, yeah, I've heard of the matrix, but Joshua, what's your flavor of the matrix here? And what's in it for me with the WII.FM, the world's favorite radio station? What's going on with that?
Well, I call it Beyond the Matrix because you're right. There are many different types of matrices in society that we're born into. I was born into organized religion, and I had to leave that in order to realize that the thoughts that I had was raised with are not my thoughts. Those are not my beliefs. They were installed there, and I didn't have the opportunity to question them. And then I got thrown into DJing and partying, and that was a whole matrix in itself. It led to addiction, which was a matrix. So I've broken free from multiple of these matrices, corporate, as you mentioned, and then understanding the life that you want to live. So that's the beyond the matrix, designing that in order to be able to break free from these things. Now, this initiation that I call Beyond the Matrix is really unique because I'm leveraging AI for knowledge transfer. I've taken the methods and frameworks that have helped me on the 14 years of sobriety that I've been on. And instead of me lecturing you for 3 hours, trying to tell you about this form of communication called nonviolent communication that has helped me with my relationships, I can now create custom AI models that have that information built into it. I can summarize that information and now create through Notebook LM. You can create 7-minute visual presentations. You can create a 20-minute podcast of 2 people talking about the subject. I could then create a guidebook with prompts built into it. So it's an interactive learning experience. You're no longer just sitting there trying to absorb one person talking at you for 3 hours. And then you get your hands on these, I call them AI allies, nonviolent communication built into it. Means I just had a blow up with my wife, disagreement, misunderstanding. I come out to my office and I open up that custom GPT and I just unload into it. I drop some F bombs. I'm really upset, right? I just get it out. And then it takes that transcript, runs it through the NVC framework, and then spits out recommended responses of how I can understand my feelings, my needs from that experience, and then how to go back in and have a higher success that I'm going to be heard and understood without the explosions. So you then get these customized AI models each week that are able to shortcut this information and be able to show you where you are in your life, practical uses of how to use these tools and frameworks that has unlimited patience, unlimited understanding, unlimited knowledge on the subject, and it will meet you where you're at to be able to teach you these things. So we're in an incredible phase of understanding and learning that AI is now being able to give us to shortcut, read this book and take this quiz and see if you retain that information in 5 years. We're able to actually put it into use and see how it's applicable in our lives in real time. And I think that's how the human brain actually learns.
And as you're talking about that, Joshua, the wheels are turning. And I'm going to take us down a rabbit hole that some in Deep Wealth Nation, Jeffrey, I think you've lost it with what you're talking about here, and so be it. Because there's been a lot of talk now behind the scenes with these algorithms that we have with the different social platforms, and fill in the name of the blank. And whatever we're talking about today, down the road, it'll be replaced with a different name. It doesn't really matter. We have these incredibly powerful algorithms that are controlling what we're seeing. And in many ways, they're influencing how we think, what we don't think, and what we do think about. And the list is just endless. It goes on and on with that. And so what I'm hearing with the systems that you're creating and helping me create, and you can say, Jeffrey, on base or off base, you're helping us get into your matrix and out of the traditional matrix so that I can think for myself. I'm being autonomous. I have these systems that keep me out of these dangerous areas that can take me down these other rabbit holes that probably aren't going to be the best thing for me. I would just love your commentary and insights of where we are today, what's going on behind the scenes with these algorithms that I don't even realize of how they're literally brainwashing me to what they want, not necessarily what I want. What's going on with that?
Yeah, for the last 15 years, we've all been leaving this massive trail of data behind us. You're able to experience retargeting ads. So you talked about something, and then all of a sudden you're showing to you on Google, Instagram, and Facebook. We've all come to terms that this is happening, but never before has there been the AI processing to analyze all that data we've been spewing for years. And this is a real big turning point of where society is heading, that we need to have privacy, because these AI algorithms, like you said, they're going to be so fine-tuned at being able to manipulate us. That means being able to slightly nudge us into a direction that in 3 months, you're going to be a completely different person with different beliefs and values, because these AI models can be so subtle with their misdirection or with guidance. And so privacy is a massive topic that we need to be aware of. This is part of the digital wellness of having a localized AI system that runs in your office, in your home. I think we should all be having our own AI models on our phones, that the data stays there. It's not going to a cloud and being used against us, that we have our own AI systems to defend ourselves against the other AI models that are out there, that are being ran by governments, ran by big corporations, that our data is being harvested and sold. I don't see another way where we're going to be able to have a sense of autonomy and be able to fend for ourselves unless we have this equal power in order to defend ourselves. And that's really where this turning point in the world is going right now, because there's some big players out there like Palantir that are connecting to everything and having access to all your data. And they work with the military. They do not have values that are human-centric. And so these big systems are coming online now because of the AI processing power that they now have available to them. And we really need to be aware that this is happening.
And as you're talking about that, and we're talking about isolation and being watched and monitored from the movies that we're talking about, it seems almost unreal, but it's very real. Before we go into wrap up mode, I know something that's very important to you, mutual aid, something that you've created, and it's all about community. So, what's mutual aid, and how does that fit into my lifestyle as a founder, entrepreneur, or just being a member of a community, wherever I may be?
Well, with how rapid society is changing, some of it's decaying, depending on what city you're in. I came up with a mutual aid group, which is essentially eight members that you get together and work with each month. And they're there to have your back. You choose what goals the group wants to accomplish. You could just get together and work in your garden, have garden parties. Great. That's a supportive group to you. You could just go on hikes together and be able to like get that wellness of the outdoors. Or you could work on food preparation, skill development. It can go to any, depth of skills needed that the group wants. We ended up doing a group buy so that we all pitched in on a freeze dryer, which is about $4,000. And now we have a freeze dryer in our group that we share amongst us. So group buys is possible, being able to have people that you are able to build trust with, because trust is not an automatic thing. You really need to work alongside people to see and judge their character. And working in the garden is a great way to be able to observe character, to then build that trust so that you have a group around you that has your back, because the top down resources usually have their own catches and they're not very efficient. Let's just be honest. So being able to take care of ourselves by taking the initiative, finding like-minded people in your area. You want to keep them within a 20-minute driving distance. So power all of a sudden went out. You could all walk to each other's houses. So this is my way of creating hyper local community around you to help insulate from uncertain times.
What's nice about that is you're doing what we speak about, but few people have the initiative to do. And hey, let's get back together as a community. Let's get that human element back into our narrative, into our story. And I know I'll share with you, Joshua, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Some of the best business ideas that I could dream up that I never would have dreamed up being in the office or in business mode was when I was doing something completely unrelated to the business. And I was just so zoned in, I was relaxing and I was feeling terrific. And then boom, out of nowhere, this incredible game-changing idea popped in. Hey, what about this? And the light bulb goes off. Would love your thoughts on that.
Well, that's really how the brain works, right? Like it is a fantastic device that will continue to ruminate and process information. But you can easily burn yourself out just trying to grind and find a solution. But the best thing you can do, go wash the dishes, go jump in the garden, hang out with your friends, and it will continue to run in the subconscious of your brain, and it will surface given the space in order for it to do so. So that's where meditation, we've come full circle in our conversation to be able to like create that lifestyle to allow that natural process to happen. And my brain is like amazing. I woke myself up at 3 a.m. this morning because I forgot to deliver some equipment to my friend's house because my wife, she got a horse. The horse came over and it wouldn't get back in the trailer. So the whole day was just like shot. But my brain's just working and problem solving. And with that space, will bring you solutions and reminders.
The brain, our mind is just such an incredible system, probably the most complex, sophisticated system ever done. And I don't think we'll ever be able to top that. And before we go into wrap up mode, you're right. We're going back to where we started. You talked about meditation and the importance of meditation. And I know for so many, it's, well, Joshua, yeah, I've tried it, but I got that monkey mind thing going on. And after the first 30 seconds or the first minute, I just feel so stressed, so frustrated. I can't do the meditation. So for those that have tried it, but hey, yeah, it just doesn't work for me, what would you tell them or where could they start?
Well, big misconception, which I had, was that when you meditate, you're not supposed to have thoughts. And that's the first thing you need to understand. You are the observer of your thoughts, and you are basically just doing reps, sitting there, watching them go by, kind of like in a stream, right? You see a leaf floating down the stream. You're like, that thought captures your attention, pulls you into it. And then it's your job to go back to your sensation on the upper lip of the breath coming out of your nose. So back to breath. That's your reminder. Oh yeah, I'm just observing. Then another thought will come in. It will pull you into it. And then you pull away and you go back to your center. That right there is the workout, the mental workout that we need to be doing. That was never taught to me when I was trying to understand this whole mystic meditation thing. But if you can just observe your thoughts for a few minutes each day, you're going to build up those reps so that when, those notifications go off, when that email comes in, when all these distracting things that happen in our lives all throughout the day happen, you start to develop the ability to stay focused and not be hijacked by them.
Some words for the wise. And I know I've been fortunate. I've been doing meditation now for quite some time. And in the middle of the day, when I just feel, okay, I don't know if I can do anymore, a quick 20 minutes and I come out and wow, I'm refreshed, I'm energized, raring to go for the rest of the day. So Deep Health Nation, you heard it from Joshua. Hey, put those expectations off to the side. And he gave us some terrific strategies of what you can try for some meditation. So that said, Joshua, we're going to go into wrap up mode. Before we do though, one other quick question. Is there a question that I haven't asked or a topic or message that we haven't yet covered that you'd like to share with Deep Health Nation?
Well, this has been just a really colorful conversation going in all different areas, but they all work together. And I've had the experience now of walking this path in order to be able to save these things and share them with your audience. As I said earlier, lifestyle design is something I'm really excited about. So if anybody in your audience is looking for some help and how I can share my wisdom to help you design these things, we now get to leverage AI. And the process is a lot faster and smoother than here's a blank journal, make me those lists. It's a lot funner. And I think we can accomplish a whole lot more, get a lot of clarity, and be able to get some incredible results leveraging these new tools we have.
And Deep Health Nation, we talk a lot about, hey, you don't have to figure out how it works behind the scenes. I know when I go into my car, I don't know how the engine works. I don't know anything about what's going on behind the scenes. I just push a button, it starts, it drives. That's all I need to know. Well, Joshua's done that for you with his systems. And we'll circle back to that, Joshua, in just a moment of how people can get in touch with you and what's going on with that. But before we do, we're going to go into wrap up mode. And it's our tradition here on the Deep Health Podcast. It's my privilege, my honor, where every guest I ask the same question. It's a fun question. Let me set this up for you. When you think of the movie Back to the Future, you have that magical DeLorean car that will take you to any point in time. Joshua, this is the fun part. Tomorrow morning, you look outside your window. Not only is the DeLorean car curbside, the door is open. It's waiting for you to hop on in, which you do. You're now going to go to any point in time. Joshua, as a young child, a teenager, whatever point in time it would be, what would you tell your younger self in terms of life lessons or life wisdom? Or, hey, Joshua, do this, but don't do that. What would it sound like?
Yeah, I'd go back to the 80s when I was probably like 7 or 8 and just tell myself that one day you were going to have all the tools you need in order to process what life you're going through right now. You're a child, just have fun, enjoy life. Don't worry about it. You'll figure this out.
I love that. And forget being a child. I think even for adults, hey, don't worry about it. Have fun. You'll figure it all out. That is truly words to the wise. And speaking of words to the wise, someone in Deep Health Nation, they have a question for you. They want you to help them to create this lifestyle that they finally will get while having a business. I'll use the F word, having some fun in that business and just knocking it out of the park. Or they have a question about what we spoke about or some of your incredible concepts and movements that you're doing out there. Where would be the best place online to reach you?
Yeah, you can go to my website, joshuahale.io, and that really houses like all the many projects and things I'm doing out beyond the matrix. Entrepreneur's Compass is how I help people with their businesses. I'm most active on TikTok, I know, but I've had some fun getting into short form videos. So if you're just looking to join the conversation, that's the best place to do it.
And Deep Health Nation, the great news is it doesn't get any easier. It's a point and click. It's all there for you. Well, it's official, Joshua. Congratulations. It's a wrap. And as we love to say here at Deep Health, may you continue to thrive and prosper while you remain healthy and safe. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jeffrey.
So there you have it, Deep Wealth Nation. What did you think? So with all that said, and as we wrap it up, I have another question for you. Actually, it's more of a personal favor. Did you find this episode helpful? Have you found other episodes of the Deep Wealth Podcast empowering and a game changer for your journey? And if you said yes, and I really hope you did, I have a small but really meaningful way that you can actually help us out and keep these episodes coming to you. Are you ready for it? The dramatic pause. I'll just wait a moment. Drum roll, please. Subscribe. Please subscribe to the Deep Wealth Podcast on your favorite podcast channel. When you subscribe to the Deep Wealth Podcast, you're saving yourself time. Every episode automatically comes to you. And I want you to know that we meticulously craft every one of our episodes to have impactful strategies, stories, expert insights that are designed to help you grow your profits, increase the value of your business, and yes, even optimize your post-exit life and your life right now, whatever you want that to look like. And every time you subscribe and a fellow entrepreneur subscribe, it's a testament to how together, yes, we are changing the social fabric of society. One business owner at a time, one liquidity event at a time. So don't let the momentum stop here. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast channel. You'll never miss an episode. You'll be the first to hear from the top industry leaders, the innovators, the disruptors that are really changing and shaping the business world. And maybe you're commuting, maybe you're at the gym, maybe you're taking a well-deserved break that we spoke all about on this episode. The Deep Wealth Podcast, it's your reliable source for the next big idea that could literally revolutionize your business. So once again, please hit that subscribe button, stay connected, inspired, and ahead of the curve. And again, your next big breakthrough moment, it might just be one episode away. Maybe it was even this episode. So all that said, thank you so much for listening. And remember, your wealth isn't just about the money in the bank. It's about the depth of your journey and the impact that you're creating. So let's continue this journey together. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for listening to this episode. And as we love to say here at Deep Wealth, may you continue to thrive and prosper while you remain healthy and safe. Thank you so much. God bless.